Welcome to Cat Facts Funny. Before we begin, take a moment to picture your cat, not as they are in motion, but as they are at rest. Curled into themselves, eyes half closed, ears still listening even in calm. In that quiet state, your cat is not waiting for instructions or words. They are waiting for signals, subtle ones, familiar ones. A cat does not hear language the way we do. They do not decode meaning through grammar or vocabulary. Instead, they absorb rhythm, tone, emotional weight, and repetition. Over time, certain sounds begin to carry feeling: safety, expectation, curiosity, or caution. Among those sounds, one appears more often than any other: their name. We tend to think of a cat's name as something chosen casually. A cute word, a reference, personality guess. But to your cat, their name becomes one of the most repeated emotional cues in their environment. It arrives attached to moments: food, affection, play, warning, comfort, frustration, joy. This episode is not about choosing the perfect name or correcting the past. It is about understanding something quieter: how a name slowly becomes a signal, and how cats learn not the word itself, but the feeling that consistently follows it. Your cat's name is not random, and over time, they feel it. How cats actually hear sound. To understand how a name affects a cat, we must first step away from human assumptions. Cats do not prioritize words. They prioritize patterns. When a sound repeats with consistency, especially in an emotionally charged context, a cat's brain begins to tag it, not as language but as a marker. This marker answers a simple question: what usually happens after this sound? Is food involved? Is touch involved? Is play involved? Is restraint involved? Over time, the answer becomes automatic. Research and observation show that cats can distinguish their name from other similar-sounding words, but recognition does not mean obedience. It means awareness. The sound stands out from background noise, carries relevance, and relevance is emotional. A cat may ignore their name not because they do not know it, but because they have already assessed what typically follows. If the sound predicts something unwanted, the body stays still. If it predicts something pleasant, the ears rotate, the tail stirs, the attention sharpens. So when we speak about names, we are really speaking about associations built over hundreds of repetitions. The name becomes a container, and what fills it matters. Tone. The emotional color of a name. The same name spoken differently becomes a completely different signal. A soft, elongated tone often communicates calm and approachability. A sharp, clipped tone communicates urgency or interruption. Cats are highly sensitive to this distinction because their survival instincts depend on detecting emotional shifts in sound. This is why a cat may respond differently to the same name depending on how it is spoken. A gentle tone used during feeding, petting, and quiet moments teaches the nervous system that this sound is safe. Over time, the name itself begins to carry that calm, even before anything else happens. But when a name is most often spoken during moments of correction, frustration, or interruption, it gathers a different weight. The cat learns that this sound precedes discomfort, restriction, or unpredictability. Importantly, cats do not judge intention. They register outcome. You may love your cat deeply and still unintentionally attach stress to their name simply by using it primarily in negative or urgent contexts. The name does not betray you. It reflects the pattern. Rhythm and sound shape perception. Beyond tone, the structure of a name itself influences how it is perceived. Names with soft consonants and flowing vowels tend to be easier for cats to process. They roll through the air without abrupt interruption. This does not make them better, but it does make them distinct in a gentle way. Short, sharp names cut through noise quickly. They can be effective attention signals, but they also carry intensity. Cats notice these differences because their hearing evolved to detect subtle prey movements and environmental changes. A slight shift in rhythm is meaningful. What matters most is consistency. When a name's rhythm stays stable, the cat's brain can predict it. When nicknames, variations, and tones shift wildly, the signal becomes less reliable. This does not confuse cats, but it does dilute association. A single, emotionally consistent version of a name becomes a stronger anchor than many playful variations. What the name changes in us. Perhaps the most overlooked aspect of naming is not how it affects cats, but how it affects humans. A name subtly shapes expectation. When we choose a name that sounds gentle, playful, bold, mysterious, or regal, we unconsciously begin to interpret behavior through that lens. We forgive certain actions. We emphasize certain traits. We tell stories about personality. Over time, this changes how we approach the cat. Our tone softens or sharpens. Our patience stretches or shortens. Our body language adapts. Cats are experts at reading this. So while a cat's name may not change their core personality, it absolutely changes the relationship field around them. The name becomes part of a feedback loop. What we expect influences how we behave. How we behave influences how the cat responds. How the cat responds reinforces the meaning of the name. Nicknames, the deepening layer. Nicknames emerge naturally in relationships that feel safe. They are rarely used for correction. More often, they appear during affection, play, or quiet companionship. Because of this, nicknames often carry a lighter emotional charge than formal names. Cats notice this distinction. Many cats respond more readily to a nickname spoken softly than to their formal name spoken sharply. This is not preference, it is emotional learning. The nickname predicts warmth. The formal name predicts interruption. This does not mean you should avoid your cat's given name. It means you should be aware of when and how it is used. A name repeated during positive moments becomes a place the nervous system recognizes. Can you change the meaning of a name? Yes, but not by changing the word. You change the meaning by changing the pattern that follows it. If a name has become associated with stress, it can be softened through deliberate pairing with calm, predictable experiences, gentle speech, slow movements, neutral moments with no demand. Cats are flexible learners. They do not hold grudges over sound. They respond to consistency. Over time, the emotional weight shifts. When a cat ignores their name, ignoring a name is not defiance. It is assessment. The cat has already evaluated the cost-benefit of responding based on previous outcomes. If the name predicts something uninteresting, unnecessary, or uncomfortable, disengagement is logical. When the name predicts neutrality or safety, attention increases. Cats are not failing to respond. They are responding accurately. The name as a quiet agreement. Your cat's name is not a command. It is a repeated invitation, an agreement that says, when this sound appears, the world will likely behave in a familiar way. Over time, your cat does not hear the letters. They feel the history. So the next time you say your cat's name, pause for half a second. Notice the tone. Notice the intention. Notice what usually comes next. Because in that small moment, the bond is being shaped again. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, the way cats understand best. What the name really becomes. Before we close, let's gently gather everything we've explored. A cat's name does not work like a label or a command. It works like a memory that keeps being written. Each time the name is spoken, the cat is not listening for meaning. They are listening for what usually follows. Over weeks and months, the sound becomes familiar. Over years, it becomes emotional. Not because the cat understands language, but because their nervous system recognizes patterns. Calm tones soften the name. Tension sharpens it. Consistency gives it weight. And quietly, without effort, the name turns into a signal of what kind of world this cat lives in. Predictable or unpredictable, gentle or demanding, safe or alert. Your cat doesn't respond to the name itself. They respond to the history attached to it. Gentle invitation. If this episode helped you notice something you had never considered before, let that awareness settle naturally. There is nothing to fix, only something to observe. If you'd like to continue exploring the quiet psychology behind cats and the subtle ways they connect with us, you're welcome to stay. And if you feel like sharing, tell us your cat's name and what feeling you think it carries. Until next time.